So if you're asking what are the benefits of driving for the entertainment fleet, one of the things is it provides you with an opportunity to challenge yourself in ways that normal freight driving doesn't do. We go into places and find ourselves in circumstances that you would believe are impossible to fit an 83-foot vehicle. A good example of that was in Cincinnati. I had to drive down an alleyway. In order to do so, I had to go up on the sidewalk of the opposing side of the street, drive towards a building, and there was patrons sitting at the bar watching me drive towards them. And then had to reposition my truck slightly to the left, and then go back down the alleyway, which was barely wide enough for my tractor and trailer underneath the fire escape, which is over my head on the left-hand side. After I went through the alleyway, I then had to turn completely around, go back out the alleyway so I could get into the dock that was behind me. There's opportunities like that that you just really don't see in general freight. Aside from the challenge of actual driving though, unlike general freight where you're perpetually going places and seeing things only from the seat of your truck, and then you're in a commercial area and you're gone as soon as you arrive, with entertainment, you put yourself right into the heart of a lot of these places that you wouldn't normally get to go. So we spent 4 or 5 days in Miami, Florida, and I was able to see Miami, Florida. I had never given it any thought. I spent 2 days on the beach just enjoying the sun and the surf. We spent a week in Orlando, rented a car. He and I went out and saw parks and did activities that we would not have been able to do because of the travel expense normally. What do you think, Mark?
I agree completely, and as well as the camaraderie of other drivers. If there's something you're still not sure of, you have the other drivers there for support, to help you with either your logs, your backing up, or getting through to a major city. You have that extra helping hand of other drivers that can sit there and like, hey, make sure you go wide when you come around this turn, or hey, watch that cone, or watch that pedestrian, or watch that car. You have that extra set of eyes with you at all times while you're going from city to city, town to town, wherever the venue may or may not be. And like you said, it's kind of like a mini paid vacation, really. As he mentioned, we had rented a vehicle and we went around town while they were getting everything going for the show. We were able to enjoy Florida, Orlando, Atlanta.
Last year was Seattle.
Yes.
Seattle, everything was within walking distance. We didn't have to rent a car. I went and saw Fisherman's Wharf, a couple of museums. I went to the Space Needle. The opportunities again in entertainment are unparalleled in freight. Honestly, that's really tough to say, but it might be when, because again, it was an inexpensive day for us. That's not what made it great. Morgan and I went and had lunch with his uncle and aunt in Ocala, and we went up and saw the state park in Ocala, Silver Springs. We rented a canoe, but the really interesting part was his uncle told us about this place called the World Equestrian Center in Ocala, Florida. I had no idea that Ocala was the horse capital of the United States. The World Equestrian Center is free to the general public. You can just go there and watch, and they had steeplechase, they had wild western shows where they were practicing the skill set on horsemanship. We sat there for 2.5 hours or so. Didn't cost us a dime, other than the fact that we bought food at one of the amazing restaurants.
Very good.
To see this place, it's hard to describe. I have never seen, you just know that there was a lot of money invested in this place. It's not done on the cheap. This is a very well-established facility. Amazing day. Absolutely, just sitting there watching horses.
Yeah, able to spend time with my family down in Florida. I don't get to go down and visit as often as I would like to. And getting paid to travel to go see family, friends, wherever they may or may not be in these towns or cities, at least nearby, where you could, again, rent a vehicle and visit them.
For example, with the Maluma tour, we didn't get nearly as much downtime. It was incredibly fast paced. It was 4 shows every week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and each was in a different city. Now, what minimal downtime we had, for example, myself, I took advantage of in Washington, D.C. when we went to the Capital One Center. When we arrived and we loaded out, I utilized what little downtime I had and I walked the entire Washington Mall. Saw the White House, I saw the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, Vietnam Memorial, and then I was back in my truck. So we only had about 4 hours that time. But there are other occasions, for example, like Seattle, we were there for 3 or 4 days. And so we were able to get out and explore a little bit more at a more leisurely pace. With this particular tour, many of the concert dates we have, it's such a massive show. We have days where we're there for 4 or 5. So 2 shows, load out day, 2 shows, and then load in day. Yeah, like 3 days of downtime, but then it's fast paced. I woke up 2.5 days ago in Miami, Florida, and I was in Marinette by yesterday at noon. To put that in context, it was 2 days of 650 miles with a 3rd day of 458. So there's times where you're moving fast, but you do get to move long distances. You get that long, steady drive that so many of us look for as drivers, where you don't have to stop. There are rules. And as far as the quote unquote backstage experience, when I was at Maluma, I saw the show 17 times, 4 times completely beginning to end. I don't speak any Spanish. I just like a good theatrical experience. And these are very fun to watch, but you're not really allowed to engage with the talent unless they engage with you first. But there is a spirit of camaraderie and engagement with the production crew. We are dealing with the same production crew that we had on Maluma. I made friends on that tour. Some of those guys are here. Some of them were still just friends on Facebook because they're on other tours doing other things. But there is like an exchange, sort of an interview. But mostly with the talent though, you have to, if they engage you first, then you can speak to them. You still get to see how the process becomes what it is. The average fan only gets to experience a show from what they see sitting in front of it. We actually get to watch the army of people it takes to support that artist while they build the stage, practice their routines, and then at the end of the night, the utter chaos of tearing it all down so you can bring it to the next city for the next group of 65, 70,000 people.
He said it's spot on where, again, you got the camaraderie of working hand in hand with these people, putting, unloading these trucks, loading them back up, watching them build the stage, or any equipment they may or may not have to assemble. You're able to see this actually get all put together. See how many people it takes to put something like this together, which is just, it amazes me. And some of the people that we worked with with Maluma are actually on this tour that we're doing now. So they kind of remember you. They're like, oh, hey, Wade, how you doing? Or, you get that friendship built up with these other people, and they'll remember you, you'll remember them.
And like anything, like any family, for the most part, you all try and work together, because unlike freight, where you're an individual entity making sure that you get your load to its destination, none of us can afford ever to be late or absent, because every component of every truck must be together. And the trucks can't move, and nobody can do their portion until the next truck is out of the way. So you do develop a pattern of helping one another to speed up the process. And as a result of that, like I said, Morgan and I, we've done 2 tours together, and when we go to the town, we hang out together. But even so, we don't just exclusively hang out with each other. If I rented a car, when we rented a car, we invited everyone else. We said, hey, listen, we rented a car. If you want to go out in the town, you're more than welcome to come with us. And people did take us up on that. So we've been hanging out with other drivers. Sometimes we'll just get we'll get a picnic table and some chairs together. We'll just hang out as a group by the trucks. Again, it's an esprit de corps that you don't get with fleet driving. Yes, we are all part of the same Veriha family. We all drive for Veriha and we recognize each other as we go along. But with entertainment division, it's a little bit tighter. With radio backing, you really have to trust, and that's the big key. You have to trust that the person who's giving you instructions will not let you damage your vehicle or anything around you. And very quickly you learn that's true to be true. All it really comes down to is you have to surrender control of your vehicle to someone else. And when they're telling you to perform a specific action, you follow along. I have yet to really experience anything bad from radio backing. Every person I've dealt with has been an absolute expert. I have gotten myself into places based on their instruction that otherwise would have been impossible. I would have had to get out of my tractor 50 times. So by trusting the radio backer, and I've literally backed myself through an S-turn, downhill, and into a blindside dock. You couldn't do that without somebody there on the radio.
It's a little different because you end up getting so used to doing it on your own, where you're checking your mirrors, you're checking your surroundings, and you don't have that extra set of eyes behind you to guide you when you're doing it by yourself. Where with the radio backing, you got to kind of more or less like, hey, okay, this guy knows which direction my trailer needs to go. I can count on this person to back me into this position and not have to hit anything.
Trust and listen.
Trust is a major.
As long as you follow precisely what they're saying. The instructions are given from the bottom of the steering wheel. So when they say either passenger or driver, they're referring to the bottom of the steering wheel. So you just simply say, if they give you a little passenger, you just a slight adjustment. They may ask for a little bit more, you go a little more, or they say hard passenger, and you come all the way around. If they say get underneath it, they literally mean just to get your tractor underneath it, versus saying get your wheels straight. Sometimes they want to push your trailer like a lever, so they'll have you straighten your wheels, and it pushes your trailer like a lever, and then they'll say get underneath it, and you adjust. I think it's for anyone. I love it, but it is not for everyone. You have to be willing to be out for a while. But if you have the opportunity, there's nothing else like it. You know, a person who's solitary could still find enjoyment and entertainment, only because while you do have to work with others at times, there have been more than one occasion where there are people who are independent and they just go off and do their own thing. They travel, they do exactly what Morgan and I do hanging out, except for they do it by themselves. They take cabs and they go places and they see things just by themselves. It is, again, an opportunity to see the places that we drive through without ever stopping. Well, I guess if I have any final thoughts, it would be that I would not trade any of my entertainment experiences for anything. I get to see so much, plus drive places that are outside of our normal venue, or outside of our normal theater of operation. I've driven through the Grand Canyon. I've driven through the mountains on the West Coast, all the way from San Diego to Portland. And there's no part of this country is anything like any other part. So the opportunity to see more of the country, aside from the sections that we already see as drivers, I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Yeah, again, if I had the opportunity to go down this road, I would definitely take it again. As he said, you're able to go other places that most of our places we pick up at or deliver to, we don't get to go to, and we don't get the time of being able to rent a vehicle, to go and see these other entertainment places like SeaWorld, Universal. The list goes on. It's definitely worth at least trying it out. I mean, again, it's not exactly for everybody, but you're not going to know unless you try.